anything that's outside of the scriptures, anything that's outside of the tradition, anything. And he's saying those people will be outside the gate. The special thing about Christianity, it is an inclusive, exclusive religion. Their response is not to say, you're just crazy. It's to kill him, it's to stone him, because they believe that is blasphemy, because he is claiming divinity. Everybody, welcome to a more excellent conversation. Excited for you guys to be here. Today, we're having a more excellent conversation about
Jesus is the only way to heaven, boy, believe it. Please don't just say that you believe.
What does the New Testament say about Jesus? And what does Jesus say about himself according to the New Testament? Now that we have some proof that it is reliable, let's look into it. So first, I wanted to look at Matthew 7, verses 13 to 20. Enter through the narrow gate, for the wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction. And many enter through it, but small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. Verse 15, watch out for false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves. By their fruit you will recognize them. Do people pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? Likewise, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down from the thorn into the fire. Thus by their fruit you will recognize them. I want you to remember that. By their fruit you will recognize them. I'm just going to touch on it briefly. When you look at the impact of Christianity, which is happening in the Greco-Roman world, where at the time there was debauchery, there's people using other people, the social status, the people weren't committed to their relationships. People were seen as slaves with no human dignity. Women were not seen as equals. They were considered property. Then Christianity comes and completely rewrites the narrative. By their fruit, you will know them, right? Some Christians have not acted this out fully or correctly, but that doesn't mean that the words are not there. That doesn't mean that that's not the instruction, and that doesn't outdo all the good that was done already and all the foundation that it laid for society today. And now I want to look at John 14, 6 through 7. Jesus answered, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you really know me, you will know my Father as well. From now on, you do know him and have seen him. So what's Jesus saying here? He's saying that he is the way. It's no other way. There's no other type of Jesus. It's the Jesus and God of the New Testament, of the Bible. That's the way to the Father, the way to eternal life, the way to heaven. He's the only way. He doesn't say, and there's a way. Because he also said, the gates of hell is wide. It's like a highway, but there's a narrow path. And now I also want to look at John 6:33. For the bread of God is the bread that comes down from heaven and gives life to the world. Sir, they said, always give us this bread. Then Jesus declared, I am the bread of life. He's saying he is the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. Jesus is providing solutions, And then I want to look at John 8, verse 58. Before we get into John 8, the Jews are saying that they're Abraham's descendants, that they're true children of God. And Jesus is correcting them, saying like, just because you have the birthright or the promise, you're not acting out and fulfilling that promise. Therefore, you're basically cutting yourself off at the knees. He's saying they're illegitimate. And they're saying, why do you have the authority to say these things? And Jesus starts making the claims about himself. And their response is that you're demon-possessed, you're evil, and all of these things. And so Jesus eventually responds that, he doesn't glorify himself. His Father glorifies him. And then verse 58 says like this, very truly I tell you, because they're questioning his authority. And so he's answering them by saying this, because their claim is that they're children of Abraham. So his claim is going to be that he's above Abraham. And in verse 58, it says, very truly I tell you, Jesus answered, before Abraham was born, I am. At this they picked up stones to stone him, but Jesus hid himself, slipping away from the temple's grounds. We have to talk about this. I am is the covenant name for Yahweh, I am. And he's saying Abraham is this. How can someone born today say that before their ancestor was alive, they were? And if you read John 1, you know that saying in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word became flesh in verse 14, and Jesus is that Word. So what Jesus is saying in John 8:58 is that he has always eternally existed. And the only other person that ever eternally existed is God. So Jesus is claiming divinity in John 8:58 and throughout the whole Gospel of John. And so what's the response of the Jews? How do we know that this is accurate? Their response is not to say, you're just crazy. It's to kill him, it's to stone him, because they believe that is blasphemy, because he is claiming divinity. He's claiming that he's eternal, that he is authoritative. And then finally, we'll look at Revelation 22:12-16. It says, look, this is Jesus talking, and you'll know why, because of verse 16. He says, I, Jesus, have sent my angel to give you this testimony. It says, look, I am coming soon. My reward is with me, and I will give to each person according to what they have done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. Blessed are those who wash their robes, that they may have the right to the tree of life and may go through the gates into the city. Outside are the dogs who practice magical arts, sexual immorality, the murderers, the idolater, and everyone who loves and practices falsehood. I, Jesus, have sent my angels to give you this testimony for the churches. I am the root, the offspring of David, and the bright morning star. Jesus says, I am the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. That's the same thing that God says in the Old Testament. Then he identifies the groups that are outside the gates, outside the kingdom. And he names people who practice magical arts, new age, sexually immoral, going outside the biblical standards of man and woman marriage, right? Practicing sex only within the constraints of marriage. Anyone who's outside those barriers, these are the people that will be outside the gate. People who murder. And Jesus says in Matthew that if you're angry with someone in your heart, you're committing the idolaters, those who put things above God, anything above God, your kids, your life, your work, and practicing falsehood. That's falsehood is anyone who's claiming outside of what Jesus has claimed in the verses that I list to you. People claiming anything that's outside of the scriptures, anything that's outside of the tradition, anything. And he's saying those people will be outside the gate. The special thing about Christianity, it is an inclusive, exclusive religion, meaning that everyone is welcome, but not everyone will make it. And we know that because we read that Jesus said the way to hell is wide, but the right path is narrow. The righteous path is narrow. And speaking of the righteous path, I think it's interesting that the Bible talks about true and pure religion as this. Religion that this is in James 1. It says, religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. So what does this mean? What religion or what society have you seen that looks after orphans and widows? When people used to put their babies, when people did not want their babies or they had deformities, where do they go? The church. They go to the Christians to care for the helpless. And that's what it means to be a Christian, to care for those who are helpless, to show and love those who are being persecuted and ostracized. The only other faith that demonstrates this on a large scale that has impacted the world is Christianity. And that's all forms of Christianity. You see hospitals, Presbyterian hospitals, you see Catholic hospitals, you see institutions that have been established by Protestants, Catholics. You see all these things. It's because Christianity, Christ, has done something different. He's doing something different than other religious institutions. And you could say Islam did contribute to science, right? But they did that on the backs of the Christian scientists of their day. It's after. Islam comes after, so they already have the knowledge prior and then just build upon that and continue to expand. Shout out to their expansion of the sciences and of medicine, right? I'm not going to take that from him, but the foundation is not Islamic. The foundation is Christ. The foundation is the Bible. The foundation is God's principles and statutes. And this is why I believe that Jesus and Christianity is the only way, because of the fruit, because of what takes place. There's one other reason that truly makes Christianity stand out from all the other faiths. Like, no other faith does this. Every other faith is about the outward expression of your faith, how faithful you look to others, how much you do things for others. But in the context of the New Testament especially, Jesus is basically telling the Pharisees and the Sadducees of the day that their religion is worthless because it's not just about outward. And he specifically says that they're vipers, that their works are filthy rags. He goes and attacks their fake piety, their fake religiosity. It's not just about what you do on the outward, it's about what's inward. Who are you when you're under pressure? Who are you when you're stressed out? Who are you when you have nothing left? What does your heart actually look like? And that is the difference. Jesus calls for a reform of the faith. That's just not who you are or who you allow people to see. It's truly what is inside of you. What's your intention? What's your heart like? Do you actually sacrifice? And that is what God cares about. That is what is important, because that is what will radically change you and the world around you. Christianity is specifically different because it changes the person. There's a transformation, not just in how they organize their life, but literally when you're around them, they're different. Not just because they go to church or some people go to a mosque, no, it's something inside them that attracts you to them. You see their love. You see the fruit of their life. God cares about changing your heart, and he wants you to give him a chance and allow you to let him in. So whether you've been in church forever, I'm challenging you to rededicate yourself, analyze your heart, ask for a new spirit. Even if you're spirit filled, ask God to continue to pour into you, continue to teach you. Or whether you don't care about faith at all, I ask you to give it a try. Think of the arguments that I laid in front of you. Do they weigh anything, right? Fight your sins, fight your flesh, fight your temptations, overcome them, and change from the inside out. Allow Jesus' power to change you from the inside out. For me, Jesus taking my sins and keeping me from my lifestyle of lying, manipulation, sin, pornography, everything, has drastically changed my life forever to now where I have a family. I'm stable in my mind. I'm stable mentally. And if he did it for me, he can do it for you. And I will admit that Christians themselves aren't perfect people, but Jesus is, and he was when he was living on this earth. And that's why we need him, his words and his teaching. God bless you. I'll let you guys get to it.